Happy Friday, y'all. Sorry for the tardiness. We just had some technical issues that we were dealing with. However, thank you for joining us on WWT Live. We have a lot to talk about. Obviously, you first saw the first slide of Bray Wyatt. We're going to get into we're not going to get into that. We're just going to talk briefly about it. It's hitting a lot of folks, including us here at WWT. We're going to talk about Saraya. We're going to talk about Charlotte Flair and so much more. Keep it locked in, y'all.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Oh, happy Friday, y'all. And the lesson of the day is don't have pizza in the middle of the day because you're going to want to take that nap and lose track of time. So here we are. That's not why we're late, but that definitely prolonged the tardiness. But we're here on a Friday, and I am I love the fact to be debuting this track. Shout out to Dylan in the chat. But he's in the building. Oh, that's the wrong one. Dang. What up, Cedric? I thought I downloaded it.
You know, I'm just thankful that wasn't the other one. So.
Oh no, the other one's downloaded. So keep on talking.
I'm thankful that wasn't the other one. But happy Friday. It's a somber day for a lot of people. If you're a fan of Mr. Wyatt, follow the buzzards, all the Fireflies worldwide. We just want to commemorate his legacy and all he brought to the industry, and just be here for his family more than anything. Those young children, for his wife JoJo, for his other children. Like, he was a great entertainer, and there's a lot of his body of work that I know that we were going to be blessed with that we're not going to be able to see anymore. Even thoughts of him being a producer after his wrestling career in ring was done. I just a very interesting space to be in and try to navigate today.
Agreed. We'll get more into it after. Here we are. Chuck, we
got the sound right?
We can't hear you. Oh, wait.
You're muted, sir. You're muted.
And that's strike 2.5 right there.
Boom.
There we go. Now
there we go. Sounds clear.
When I first checked in, I thought we were on the air. I'm like, oh, we're going. I thought we were on the air. We're having a lively conversation off air, but it is definitely.
Oh, you thought we were live? Oh yeah. No.
I honestly thought we were live. I thought we were live, and clearly I thought wrong. I don't think the world was ready for that conversation. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe
one day for that conversation.
That's why you were going so hard in the paint. I was like, damn, you going real hard in the paint.
But I would have said that. I would have said that in public too. Like, okay. To be honest with you. So I had no issue with that. But that's not important at the moment. What is important is the stunning breaking news we got yesterday. That is to be the vocal point at this point in time.
Well, before we do that,
yeah, go ahead.
Before we do that, I just, give me just two seconds of your time, because
go right ahead.
Because Dylan put a lot of effort in this, so I need to give him a moment and give him the shout out, because he sent me over 100 plus gifts. So shout out to Dylan in the chat. But here we go. Shout out to Dylan. That's it. I know it was, we hopping back and forth, but
oh my God.
You are right, Bosa. Dylan is a gift master. With that, how I'm tying that in is I going to what you were saying, Chuck, just appreciating people for the work that they've done. And the good thing about this entertainment industry, and or the parents who take videos of their kids all the time or take family videos, is you have those memories. And the fact that his body of work like I remember when I got introduced to him, and it was at the time that, you know, I was the co-host with X-Pac. So I was like studying wrestling and studying journalism and how to put it all together. And like the Bray Wyatt family and the intro, I remember when I got to experience that, like we all, whether you like him or not, what I love about great wrestlers and great characters and when you have it all together, it creates an experience that you'll never forget. So, you know, I can definitely appreciate that. So sorry, Chuck, continue what you were going to say.
No, not a problem at all. That call was shell shocking. We know Bray had been dealing with health issues, but we didn't know it was that serious. Matter of fact, there was reports that day he was close to a return. He was just trying to get cleared.
Yeah, reports over that week too.
So for it to go from promising signs to the absolute worst was just numbing, absolutely numbing. And as said, touched at the top of this, you know, first things first, that man had a family, four kids, correct? I want to say it was 4 kids he had, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the most important thing at the moment, that, you know, his family, holding JoJo and the kids close. We've heard reports that WWE is going to take care of them, which is the right thing to do. Right. That's first and foremost. That was, you know, a family man, a brother, a friend, a father. That's vocal point number one. The second vocal point is the professional side of it. And we've talked about this briefly in the last couple of weeks, that, you know, we're hoping for Bray to, you know, to come back, you know, creatively things would work out. You know, we all agree we want him to win, because we've all seen the bouts he's had creatively with companies in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's just, it's like any great artist that passes way before their time in any kind of creative field. There's going to be a lot of what ifs, a lot of, if this rivalry, or if this, you know, faction would have came together, if we would have seen the Wyatt Six, you know, format, you know, the Fiend, I think, is going to be his greatest character next to the Eater of Worlds, to be honest with you. That character was over. It was a champion. It was moving merch. It connected with folks. The booking of it obviously is highly debated, but the bottom line of it is it was working. It was unique and it was working. And even with the Eater of the Worlds, like, you know, that's one thing about Bray, you know, from a creative standpoint, you got to give him his credit for sticking to his guns, man, because no one in this business gets to the top and is memorable unless they stick to their guns like that. So you have to give him that credit. But I have to say, the most impressive thing and the most important thing that I've read about Bray, you know, everybody knows how much of a talent he was in ring, but everybody has commented how much of a great human being he was. And I feel in any professional field, it's more important actually to be a great human than be the best at your job. Because I feel like being a great human will propel you further along with folks, even if you're okay at your profession. But the fact that this man was excellent at his profession and a great human being, you know, that is you're winning in life, as far as I'm concerned. I'll never forget Bray. I saw Bray's main roster debut at SummerSlam 2013. That was the Inferno match with Kane. And anybody who's been to an event in the last, you know, 10 plus years, that entrance, TK, you mentioned that too, that entrance, it was dope on TV, but to see it live, like, that's why we thought, you know, he was next in line as like Taker in terms of that paranormal kind of energy.
Right.
Because when those lights hit, it was nothing like that was like that in not only in the company, but in WWE, you know, in wrestling period, other than Taker. And, you know, now we can really hold that moment close between him, Taker, and LA Knight at Raw 30th, when Taker seemingly, it looked like, passed him the torch. I think that's going to be a strong, touched upon moment for years to come. I mean, and then another thing, obviously, that saddens us even more is half the Wyatt family's not here anymore, you know, including Brody Lee. So there's no silver lining to the situation. I know usually you try to, but there is none. It's just a terrible situation, man. This is, it's a tragedy, and I'm still stunned. I'm honestly still stunned that we're talking about Bray Wyatt in the past tense. We had Kobe Day yesterday for 8/24, and even still talking about Kobe in the past tense, 3.5 years after his passing, it still doesn't fully resonate. And it's going to be the same for Bray Wyatt, talking in the past tense. It's going to be a long time, I think, until 36 years old. Far too young to leave us, man. But he left an incredible legacy for the short time he was here on this earth.
Yeah.
I see some questions in the chat that I wanted to unpack, and
you want to talk about
Nikki
the Denise
asked a very good point about, I guess, when's the right time to try to ask people their thoughts and feelings. Denise Salcedo asked a question to the Paul Wright, aka the Big Show, about his thoughts on Bray's untimely passing while she's out there doing media for All In. A lot of people online are kind of tearing it apart, saying that it's untimely, and we personally don't know if she was told to ask that question, if she got it cleared to ask that question before. Some people are calling it like Bush League journalism, and at the end of the day, she's probably just doing her job. But it's important to have empathy and also to read the room. And I would just hope that she cleared that with Paul before, so he wasn't caught off guard, or at least got clearance from the family of Wyndham Rotunda to gather thoughts as well. Journalism is a very slippery slope, and it's never going to be 100% perfect.
Yeah.
So
I remember when Kobe passed away, and the thing with journalism is, the thing they brought up with Kobe and Denver and the whole situation. And that was what, like 8-9 years ago. And I asked one of my mentors who's been with NBC for a very long time, like, why do we have to talk about, like, this man just died? Why do we have to talk about the fact that he made a mistake? Well, here nor there, something happened years ago, and why are we talking about that? That's been, that court-wise it was done. His wife is like, forgiving him, all the other stuff. And she's like, well, as a person who is a public personality, like, that's part of their legacy. And so, with journalism, at the emotional part of it and the empathy part of it, that's secondary to getting the news, depending on who your outlet is. So, whether or not, it really just depends on, I haven't seen the clip yet. I don't know who she's reporting for. Denise reports for a lot of different folks. So I'm guessing there was a conversation that was had prior to that. But
TK, I don't mean to interrupt, but so did Denise Salcedo ask something at a All In press scrum? Did something happen that, like, I don't know the story, so I need you to kind of quickly fill me in. I don't know what happened with that.
So Denise is in All In. I think it's going on so quick. Denise is in All In, and she asked Paul about the situation. And so I'm guessing Nikki had brought it up in the chat. So I'm guessing people, and I can understand why people are questioning whether she should have asked, because, Bray literally passed away yesterday. Also, that's her own publication. And so
right.
it just,
And when you say Paul, you mean the Big Show, right? Paul Wright?
Yes.
Okay.
So
as a journalist, you're supposed to, like TK was saying, your job is to deliver the news. You also have to have like authenticity in what you're reporting, and maybe the goal was to deliver a very authentic, vulnerable moment, since it did just happen.
This is always a slippery slope when bad news, and you have to remember, I understand doing your job as a journalist, but you have to be human first. You gotta read the room. I can't say, I haven't seen the clip. I don't know what this is a slippery slope, man. I know this is obviously a hot topic you want to ask, and I don't think she tried to mean any harm to it. I think Denise has always done great work in this field. I don't think she's not the type that comes off as someone that's just, fighting for a hot story or a hot clip. She doesn't seem as that type of journalist. At least I've never met her, but as someone that's followed her work, she doesn't seem that type of journalist.
No,
So,
it's also who you're talking to. Some
Right.
people, for example, my father passed away 4 or 5 months ago, and I went into like a certain mode to take care of things. And if somebody were to have asked me the day of or the day after about him or who he was, I wouldn't mind talking about him, right?
Right.
Some people shut down entirely. It
Right.
really just depends on the relationship that the two individuals have. I'm
Right.
willing to bet that she has this wasn't the first time she talked to him. He probably knows her because Denise has also worked with WWE as well. She's done a lot of different things for them, or excuse me, as well as AEW. So I don't think that this was like he's never seen her before and he has no idea, and now she's asking these questions. Whether
Right.
he knew or not, as far as it being recorded, that's a different thing. But again, the reading the room part, it just really depends on, as far as you being the interviewer, the relationship that you guys have. Typically, if you have a good relationship, and you see that when you interview folks, like we have people who've been on the show a couple of times, like you see that happen, that you have that relationship, so you can get away with different questions and they trust you.
Right.
It's not one of those things where they feel like you're angling. So, and I have met with Denise, and I've worked with Denise, and you know, I definitely, she's very good at what she does, and I'm really willing to bet that her relationship, like it wasn't one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I don't know him, but I think I'm going to get clickbait, therefore I don't think that's the case.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Like I said, I've never met her, but I could just see as someone that watches her work, she doesn't seem like that type of person at all. So I think we got to give her that kind of benefit of the doubt. But and you're right. Everybody has a different coping system, and it's hard to judge what someone's coping system is unless you really know them. Some people can talk out about it. Some people need a moment before they can say anything. So,
yeah, but you also know that that's what you're going to be asked. Like, let's also be transparent. So let's put Denise and people who are, they know what they're doing in one box, right? And then you have just in general, you know, when you're out there, and I don't want to like bring it back to myself. I'm just giving you an example. Everybody called me, right? People called me, and I could choose whether or not I want to answer a certain phone call because I knew the conversation would go like this or the conversation would go like that.
Right.
No matter what, the human people are curious. And if you are close to somebody and now you're in the public and now you're asking questions, out of 10 or 12 journalists, there's going to be one, whether you know them or not, that's at least going to try. And so you, the person who's receiving those questions, can either say, I don't want to be asked that. Because I've been in interviews where they give you a list of things like, y'all can't talk about this.
Right.
So there's that too. So there's a lot of give and take. Again, I think, I don't know, Chuck, you saw, I don't know, Cedric, you saw the clip. I haven't seen the clip. I'm just kind of going back to what the questions are, but there's a lot of give and take, and you know, there's a lot of runway for it.
And I get that it has nothing to do with AEW All In, but in her defense, it is something that affects everyone.
Right.
So.
Right.
With that being said, I mean, and that's why I really don't like, and I think we were talking about this offline too. It's one of those things that, you know, you see the impact he had just through social media, wrestlers and people who are fans of wrestling, people who are fans of his work, etc. But it's just kind of like, I don't really like tackling stuff like that, you know, definitely give them the flowers and their praise, but it's just kind of, you know, what the family's going through and all that stuff. And there's never a good way to segue to something else. So we're just going to segue to something else without trying to figure it out. So what do we
have? Go buy some Bray Wyatt merch. All the proceeds are going to be donated to his family and his children.
Yeah. Thanks, Dylan, for that clip. I'll play it when I get it, or a little bit later. I'll watch it first and play it. We'll see if it's worth playing it. But what do we got next?
So before forget the match that's happening. It's the AEW Women's Championship match. Saraya's been reflecting on her run these past several years ahead of ahead of AEW All In. She did an interview how she's talking about how she's going from being in a small city in England, going to a smaller company, doing the whole independent circle, and then ultimately getting to WWE. And she never thought she would be somebody that would actually leave WWE. She never thought back in 2016 she'd be where she was today because she was such a WWE loyalist. But all in all, she's just lucky to feeling that she has being with AEW, and that she's very excited at this part of her career. I asked you guys and guys and girls in the chat, how do you feel about Saraya's comeback? Because that's essentially what this is. And now she gets to wrestle pretty much in front of her hometown where everything began at possibly the biggest wrestling show ever.
I put this in the same category as Edge, as Daniel Bryan. These are medical miracles, first and foremost. So the fact that she's even back in the ring, you know, is amazing and should be commended. And, you know, AEW's been extremely safe in trying to keep her safe. I know there's certain bumps that she can't take anymore, and everything has gone fine so far. So from a storyline standpoint, I wish the Outcasts were a little bit, I wish they had a couple more W's to be a more valuable threat in the women's division. Because that is a great group right there. You have 3 of the most decorated women's wrestlers in the past decade. And it just seems like they haven't fully hit as much. So I feel, even with Toni Storm, the AEW women's champion in the stable. So I feel there is so much more that stable can do. And of course, we've talked about the booking of the women's division on this show many a times. Overall, it's just good to see her back in the ring. I hope they give the Outcasts more of an edge, more W's on the, you know, make them a viable, menacing threat, you know, in that division. But it's just good to see after everything she's been through. It's just good to see her back in the ring. And then to go back home now in front of a crowd like that, beautiful.
Is
that long pause?
Oh, no. I'll be honest. I was halfway listening. I was listening to the clip from Denise that Dylan sent. You know what? We won't even talk about it. It's her clip. People take that. You take with it what you want. You got our opinion as far as journalists, etc. I definitely agree with you. The fact that Saraya, like, being so young while she was with WWE, and then like looking at your career, like this is all you wanted to do. You finally get to do it. You get injured, and then you don't know if you're going to do it again. And now, you know, at that time you're looking at your life, because, you know, you're not at the, you know, the part where it's not like you're 60, right? You're looking at your life and you're like, I have all of this runway to go. What am I going to do now? This is all I've done. This is all I've known. And to be able to get that second chance to go at it is great. I don't know. It's a kind of a catch-22, because you feel like, because some of these wrestlers, in particular the women, some of them that are coming from WWE, you feel like, well, they've already proven themselves, so therefore they should automatically have this runway and this pathway to get the belt or have an exciting storyline, and that often hasn't happened. So that's kind of disappointing. However, this is a whole new company, and it almost kind of feels like, okay, well, you're starting here now, and you have to build your way to that. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't like that. We've talked about it plenty of times, and we've been on plenty of media calls with AEW asking Tony Khan about, you know, the booking of women wrestlers. It's not the greatest. But for somebody who is an athlete and they've gotten to do this all their life, and they had a break, and now they have this opportunity, and also to do it in front of their home country, I mean, you can't take that away.
Right.
Yeah, you kind of have to. You can kind of say they kind of booked themselves into a corner. You really have to pay it forward, and it's almost a disservice to Sheeta recently gaining the AEW Women's title, because maybe there's another storyline there if Saraya wins the belt off of her Outcast teammate there. And we can critique AEW booking up and down the entire card, especially leading into All In, especially what they just did with AR Fox was really weird.
Yeah,
But
I didn't get that. Why did they switch him out at the last minute?
I have no clue, but definitely weird. But for this to be like a big moment, such a big show, and they're already hitting their gate numbers, record sellouts, hometown for Saraya, they have to pay it forward. I feel like that was the big reason they signed her, and for her to have that moment will pretty much leave a lasting legacy on this company for years to come.
Yeah, that was a weird booking decision. I mean, Christian Cage obviously is a bigger name, but they spent that time building up that angle. They went to the Indies, with Sting showing up at AR Fox's spot. It was building up nice. And that when they did this abrupt, I can understand if they would have lost that match and Swerve would have turned on him afterwards. Okay, that makes total sense. But I was sitting there watching that Dynamite highlight, like, wait, the pay-per-view is Sunday. What?
You just tried to kill my homie a couple weeks ago, but you gave me my first job, so I forgive you. That's basically what it was.
I don't know. Maybe AR Fox is hurt. Maybe that's something that we don't know. That maybe they had to take him out.
I think the consensus was it might be like a travel issue, but
right, just like.
But wouldn't they have known that? Actually, they wouldn't have. I know shade to AEW, but
I mean, we saw what happened with was it Ray Phoenix or was it Penta? Someone correct me. Which one of the Lucha Brothers?
Ray Phoenix. Another travel issue is what they're
right.
They're
so
saying.
They gave him the hammer time and they wrote him out of the storyline for Stadium Stampede with that reason. And I asked again, wouldn't they have known, a trap? But I guess not.
No, I feel like as an immigrant here, I think that people here, especially American companies, sometimes take things for granted and they don't realize that like things are different. Like you're like, okay, I'm going to another country. All I need is a passport. It's like, no. Like there's so many other guidelines and things and immigration things and all that things. Like if that's the case, it's more of a travel issue. You wouldn't think, if you never had any issues traveling, you wouldn't think to bring up those issues for other people. So yeah, when I mean immigrant, meaning that you're traveling to another country. So why I'm saying I'm immigrant, I'm very much aware of traveling to different countries. Like if it's a Commonwealth country, you can do certain things. If it's not a Commonwealth country, you can do certain things, go into certain embassies, stuff like that. If you are in America and you don't really travel as much, or you're kind of almost like a Tony Khan where you don't have to worry about those things, you're not thinking of all the possible issues or the possible places or the things or all that other stuff.
And somebody in the staff must have missed that because that's when you pay people to double check those things.
Trust me, working for companies, I have to remember that. I have to remember that for them. Like, hey, by the way, we should do to make sure. So, yeah, shout out to the Commonwealth. See, the Commonwealth, you have a Commonwealth passport, you have some benefits having a Commonwealth passport. A lot of people don't know that unless they're like, there's all these nuances, but we don't know for sure. I don't want to go on a tangent. But
put some respect on Motor City TK, Miss Worldwide.
With that being said, do you think with AR there is a possible like makeup for All Out next weekend?
You just took me out of a master wrestler for 80,000 people. Ain't no way to make that up. Are you kidding me? No, there is no makeup for that. So unless it is a visa issue or he's hurt, there's no substitute for being pulled out of a match that big. There is.
He's got kicked out of the local embassy, so I really don't know what the follow up is, to be honest. But
yeah, if it's not an injury or a visa issue, I would be pissed if I was AR Fox right now.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that. What do we got next?
Are we going to stay on AEW here about Tony Khan addressing $1 billion offers he's gotten for the company to go public?
Yeah, let's talk about the fake TK.
With the biggest show in the promotion's short history coming up in less than 48 hours, AEW's Tony Khan seems to be in the right mood to talk business. Speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, and matter of fact, I have that article bookmarked. I got to read the rest of it about whether or not the company is yet profitable. And Khan says he's received some big money offers to outright buy AEW. And this is what Tony said. And I quote, "We have an evaluation of, well, people have approached me with about $1 billion. So the business has grown. I'm not turning over huge cash profits, but as we approach the new media rights renewal, that is really the key, not only to weekly profitability and cash flow, but also another large multiplier on top of the business evaluation. Khan has declined to name any interesting parties who have thrown out any offers, but it's clear that the 40-year-old does not intend on getting out of the wrestling business anytime soon. I'm not interested at this time." And that's what Tony closed his quote. I read this and I can think it's WCW being bought by Time Warner. Tony, don't do it. I know obviously the bag would be elusive, but I think Tony loves what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like if somebody else gets a hold of it, they're not going to get it. They're going to try to turn it into WWE light, and it's going to fuck up everything. Excuse my language, but that's just where I see it happening. Do I see the company
give it more structure and possibly better booking? I'm just going to be devil's advocate here.
Too many chefs in the kitchen, man. Like, look, the Khans is a unique situation. This is the one family in wrestling that has more money than the McMahons. You really don't have to play the public. Vince, up until the Attitude Era, I mean, just past the Attitude Era for the company went public, he was gambling his life trying to keep WWE afloat, mortgaging against his house. Remember, he bet everything for WrestleMania 1. So so they have room as a family to maybe take a loss for another year or two and make this thing, more profitable. I just think if they put it in the hands of somebody else right now, the company's going to fall off. I really do, because you need the right creative people to keep the thing going. Is it perfect? Hell no, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not perfect by all means. I know people in the comments talking about, and I know Cedric said about giving it more structure. It's not perfect, but they're a young company. They're still trying to figure it out.
That's what I was going to say. They're 5 years old.
Even if it's okay, even when I
so what if we continue this on for another 5 years? Didn't it? The fake TK just came out dressed like a Leatherface with a fake chainsaw a week ago, lending the thought to like he wants to be a part of the show too much. Wouldn't structure help them reach their tangible goals that they want to reach?
AEW got $100K to do that hardcore match. That's an easy $100,000 that they got for that, and it was better than what was the match?
They couldn't get a man that actually is built like Leatherface.
What was the match?
Nobody in the back that can dress like Leatherface. Tony had to do that.
What was the match during the pandemic when it was a movie tie-in and Miz got hurt? What? Somebody in the chat give it to me.
I want to say it was Walking Dead, but I'm not.
Thank you. It was some kind of, I can't remember. Somebody in the chat will get it. Somebody in the chat will get it. They got $100,000. I'm
not criticizing the bag that they got. I'm criticizing the fact that Tony dressed up for it. You couldn't get Luchasaurus to dress up in the costume. Somebody actually looked menacing.
Everybody would have known that, man.
But sometimes you have a P. Diddy and sometimes you have a Suge Knight. Like the fake TK is the P. Diddy of wrestling.
Right.
He was, but you know what? I
feel like we doing. I feel like it's a repeat of the '90s where we just doing stuff on television. It's like do rag Vince antics just to be on TV. That's what I feel like sometimes.
I don't doubt at all he's gotten offers, but I don't see him. I see the company going public, but I don't see him outright selling the company.
Well, I mean,
I see that happening more than him outright selling the company. To be honest with you,
I'm at the tail end of Succession. I've finished all 4 seasons, and just kind of going off of that, and also having friends who've like kind of been in those situations, obviously not as big. You lose your like ability to, even if you go public or people buy in, you're no longer 100% in control. And if you have that type of money, where even if you do go in red, it's fine, then why would you want to sell? Like, right. And it is 5 years. And I know when I say that to some people, because sometimes I tell myself it's 5 years, and sometimes I tell myself it's 5 years, they should get it together. But compared to WWE, and we've seen the mistakes that they've made as well. It's like you almost have to give that time for the company to mature, whether he'll get it right or not. We have to just wait and see. But I
Right.
know if I had that type of money, like, and you're offering to buy, and like what you're offering is, okay, a couple extra dollars in the already big bucket that I have, it's not going to persuade me for me to sell. Why?
Nah, it's not.
And
I mean,
shout out to Dylan. Yes, we need to continue saying the fake TK, because I'll tell you what. So, just saying. Just saying, Succession is a situation. Succession is
yeah.
like AEW and WWE and like all wrapped in one. You can literally throw Succession and that template on any major like family situation. So, anyways.
Is that Max?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Haven't watched it, so.
Oh, you have to watch it. Is it on Max? Oh yeah. Or you can
It
get
is.
on.
It was an HBO show. It's on Max.
Yeah. All right. What do we got next?
So Charlotte Flair is already thinking about her post WWE career, and she's thinking about different types of ways she can join other businesses. She's become a global ambassador for Smile Train. She's thinking about trying to join a movie or a series in her hopes, and also even kicking out the idea of possibly bodybuilding and joining that bodybuilding world, which I think is something that she would excel at.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys see Charlotte Flair landing probably in the very near future post WWE run?
She'll do some movie work. I think so. What do you think, TK?
I mean, she could do anything. Multiple streams of income. That's what my journalism teacher like literally preached to us almost every class. Multiple streams of income. Charlotte Flair can do anything. I think she she could do the movies, which will require her to like put in work, but she can do stuff that has to do with hair, like hair extensions. She can do makeup. She can do a lot of different things because one, she has the name behind her. Two, she has a whole body of work. Like she can pretty much do anything she wants to do, and I'm all for it. I feel like more wrestlers, and I think they have, compared to like the older generation, they're doing businesses, they're doing other things,
Right.
because they realize that this wrestling thing is not a life thing, and nobody wants to be like 45 doing a drop kick from a rope if they don't want to, because there's a big difference. There are people who want to, and then there are people who can't, but they still need to do it because they need to make that coin. So you want to put yourself in the best position as possible, that if you stop wrestling tomorrow, you already have 2 or 3 different businesses running for you. So I think Charlotte's in the prime position.
We talked about this with Xavier Woods a number of times in terms of people that have successfully branched out past the mat. Charlotte is a Flair. Her daddy is crossed over into multiple fields of media, and that was late into his career. So I have little doubt that Charlotte's going to have that. She already has she's a Flair. So just off of that, she's going to have that crossover appeal. But you add that on top of all the success she's had on her own term. She's gonna do her own thing beyond the ring. It won't surprise me. She takes some time out, do some movies. I mean,
she'll be fine.
She's gonna do a lot. The sky's the limit for her.
Yeah, I think there's a long list of wrestlers that have kind of graced that sculpting competition bodybuilding stages too. So I think she would fit right in there. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Bianca did one. Was it the beginning?
That was recent too. I think that was last year.
Yeah. So why not? You're already working out.
Right.
Add it to the like.
That's an extreme type of discipline too.
Yeah, man.
Man, I did it one time. I was like, I'm good. Nah, we for that amount of work for like less than 7 minutes on stage, I'll pass. But
yeah, we like cake over here. So we not
cut
doing
that, Dylan. Cut that.
Do you see peaches, apple pie? I mean,
we like
he said cake.
Cakes, red velvet, chocolate. We like it all. We're not stressing our organs out for no stage time. It's crazy.
Man, we even got the apple. We got the McDonald's over here too, man. We got pie all day over here, man.
They still make that?
Ask The Rock about me.
Wow. Okay.
Ask The Rock what we talking about.
Wow.
All right,
I don't even know.
next topic. TK, how we doing? I know we're running on time, but
I'll go bench pressing the apron right now. I'll make the cake right after.
You lucky I'm tired because I could just
no additives or preservatives.
What's the next story? What we got?
Dylan says, "All right, cut."
How much time we got? Because I know we're running short, so I want to know
we
what's
good. We
most
can
important.
continue on because we don't have a show after this. We're good.
Okay. We already talked about that. We already kind of a lot of these stories. I'm just looking at the topics. We've covered it almost like sometimes two for three. All right, let's do Mickie James then. If the article can pop up. So Mickie James says she's feeling good after she missed several months due to injury. James suffered a rib injury that forced her to relinquish her Impact Knockout World Championships and missed several months. She returned to the ring in July, and she will compete at Rev Pro 11th anniversary show on August 25th. In an interview with Muscle Man Malcolm, she described how she's feeling following her injury. She said, I quote, "I feel good. I think it was a reset I needed, and that I didn't need a break, if you will, that I didn't understand. I felt like I was going so great and really on a roll. It kind of sucked at the moment, but actually having the time off and be able to spend the summer with Donovan and take time to let the bone heal correctly. We had the desire. We feel like we need to. Oh no, I can just keep going. Spiritually, I think too. I need a little time, a little break, and I'm feeling good now." Always good to see Mickie James in the ring. We've always talked about this. A vet, a respect, I feel like in a way she's gonna be like, I don't want to compare her to Jeff Jarrett, but I feel like because she hasn't had I don't know why. I just feel like she's gonna be like Jeff Jarrett and just keep having runs late into her career, man. Like
I like cake over here.
But I thought didn't she go on a retirement tour?
Look, man, she's retired more than too short at this point, man. She's not going anywhere.
I love Mickie. Like, I think she's amazing.
Oh,
she
yeah.
is the catalyst to why I started going back to live events. Like, my first live event was in St. Louis after or at the tail end of the pandemic. So I definitely shout out for, the peer pressure that she gave me to like go and do it. But I swear there was like a whole retirement tour. And that's not happening.
Nah, she's gonna be in it.
That's what I thought the last time she was on television. I thought that was kind of gearing towards the end, but that just speaks to like the bandwidth this sport takes on your body, on your mental. So just speaking about that with Charlotte, I mean, Mickie being older, definitely take the time for yourself. Like that will be there if you still want to pursue it. So I'm glad you got the reset that she needed. As I get sound bites in the background. So okay.
Dylan,
I'm not gonna get that down.
I tell you what, Dylan,
you good at what you do.
I need to start chopping up some stuff and throwing it in the system. Y'all gotta show me how to do that, man, because I can go local on that too.
Dylan is Dylaning. You know what I'm talking about? Because man,
I need the software. Whatever you're using, sir.
To clip.
Whatever he just did.
Oh.
Because that was said like 5 minutes ago. That was instant.
So looking at our run, as we said, we covered like sometimes 3 stories in one shot. The last one I've seen
wasn't fake Santana.
Wait, which one did I miss? Because I'm
like cake over here.
I'm looking. Good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.
We like cake over here.
Oh my goodness.
The last story we have on the docket, I'm not even sure I want to touch it because I'm sure Nikki and Santana are going to want to fight.
Actually, sorry, is that the one where you're talking about the fighting for a family for Soraya? Because we did talk
No,
about
I'm talking about. I already know if we bring up Hogan,
Oh
the
no, we're
front
not
row
talking
ma-
about. We're
yeah,
not talking about
the front row mafia is gonna want to.
Oh yeah, you missed that like offline
You're gonna
thing
throw me.
he was talking
You're
about.
gonna throw me
yeah.
out the
whole
front
story.
door
No, we're
like
not.
Jazzy.
But
like
just
Jazzy
just
Jeff.
the way like people the fact checkers got around to this on Twitter, and yeah, Hogan been lying in his interviews, so that's all you need to know.
Okay, I got it. I was kind of glowing over it. I'm like, I need to do some background work on check on this one, just
Oh
on
yeah, no.
GP, because it sounds interesting, but I'm not too sure. So okay, moving forward.
Yeah.
Dylan said we talking about cake now. What kind of cake y'all like? Like cake over here. Hey, I'm mad that TK about to get miles off of this.
The EST strikes again.
Oh,
What we what,
But before
what
we talk about cake, fighting for
wow.
my family, Soraya, and the possible sequel to that. What do you think? What do you think?
Where's the there we go. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you what do you think? What do you think it's going to talk about? Like, do you think it's going to talk about? Because I think the end of that movie, she just got to WWE, right?
The ending is her beating AJ Lee,
Right.
played by
And
Selena Vega, her first night on Raw, winning the title. There's a lot of stories still to tell.
We like cake over here. And then maybe you can talk about like that brief run she had when Charlotte and the other horsewomen came to the main roster, trying through that, maybe overcoming this injury. I think that would be the biggest story, especially if her big moment happens this weekend.
Yeah.
You can write a whole
Right.
script off of her, the physical therapy she done, the thought of not being able to get back to this level, and then ultimately performing in front of her hometown. I think that's what the second movie can be about.
There's a lot of how deep can we go with it. You know, there's a lot of controversy.
Oh,
there,
they're
obviously.
definitely not going to talk about.
Oh man, but see,
They
that's the
will talk
thing.
about
If you do a bio, my thing with bios is either tell
Nah.
it or don't tell it at
Yeah,
all.
but
So
he
it's
was
like,
just such a blip, though. They weren't even together for.
no,
for
it
a
but
year.
you know what?
You talking about all that? Nah, they're
It was
touching
a
that
negative.
strickler. It's like, nah.
It was a negative part of her life, but it's part of her story. It's
Yeah,
part of
but
that. It's part of that arc.
yeah,
Is
but
it
if you're
pretty?
watching-
Hell no. Is dude an asshole? Yes.
yeah, but if you're
It's not.
watching,
But life
a
is not
movie-
perfect.
Yeah,
Life
if
is
you're writing a bio, then yes. If you're writing a book, maybe he'll get like a page or two. But you're talking about a movie, like he'll be the person that, like, I already can see it. If they're talking about a movie and you want to include him in the movie, he'll be the person that she's walking with, and like her two friends are shaking their head. His name won't be like they won't say
Right.
his name. Like it'll just be like
There has to be some
silhouette of,
acknowledgement to it
if
because
you
it's
know,
part
you
of
know.
the story.
Yeah.
There has to be some acknowledgement to it. There has to be, because without struggle, there's no good story. That's just me. But if you're asking me, is there a sequel? Absolutely, there's a lot to tell. And I feel like if you saw her A&E biography, because of I was here time with AEW, I feel like they just cut a lot out. I felt like it was very anticlimactic, her biography story, and they just didn't fill in the blanks because she's working across the street now. So
Yeah. And Dylan has a good point. That's exactly what I was thinking. Man, I wish I could bring some.
Well, actually, The Rock has. Wait, back up. No. I was thinking of Dark Side of the Ring. We did Terrors of the Territory. Never mind.
Yeah. I don't think it's exclusive, but I feel like, yeah, like it's not. Is that might not happen. I'll be surprised, but I don't think The Rock, and for my folks who are listening, Dylan asked if, because The Rock is pretty much still affiliated with WWE, and the fact that's raised with AEW, would that, and he helped produce the first movie, would he produce the second movie?
Right.
I don't think so, but stranger things have happened. And
right.
Rock, I don't know. The Rock seems like if anybody can get it done, he can make it work.
That's fair.
So yeah.
We like cake over here.
On that note,
what type of cake y'all asked? What type of cake do you guys like? Since Dylan asked the question before we get out of here.
Jeez, man, all types of cake: chocolate cake, peach cobbler, apple cake, apple cake, apple pie. All types of cakes and pies, man. I got a sweet tooth, and I'll just keep it like that.
Oh,
What about you, Sid?
Hi. Nobody
I
caught
like
that.
Nikki's one.
Oh, of course I caught that.
No.
Of course I caught that. TK, would you like to ask the question before we sign off?
I love beefcake personally. Nikki, that was a good one. Stephanie saying red velvet. Dylan saying he doesn't discriminate. It depends.
Yeah, exactly.
I
make a real mean peach cobbler cheesecake every November. I'm gonna see if I can.
That sounds fire.
cheesecake.
That sounds fire. I may need to come see you in November about that. Said.
That's a good question. We can circle it all back around. Before I answer that question, I like Dutch apple pie and chocolate cake. That's the two. Do you think WWE will tear up the script and do a 2-hour tribute show for Bray Wyatt?
I think that's something we've all warned in the last 24 hours. I think I think they're going to, because they said they shut down everything when they heard the passing.
That's a lie. That's a blatant lie, Santana. Because we got film, and you talking about Al Snow days ago. It's on film. It's a blatant lie.
What does everybody want? Okay, stop. What does everybody need?
Like cake over here.
That's a good question, because that's kind of what we were talking about before we started the show, and this will be the last thing. It might be a little tangent-y. But with the tribute, sometimes, and this is not just WWE, this is kind of in general, like when somebody passes away, there's like this fine line to celebrating them, and then I don't know, I guess everybody grieves a little bit different. And to me, if they tear up the script, which is definitely like what they should do, but if they present it in such a way, I don't know if I could personally watch that. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like grieving, even though it's frontward facing, like there's just a part of that as a family, like you might not be ready to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, he's gone, and yes, people want to celebrate him for all his accomplishments, but then there's a people who are truly like close to him, and to see that, like it might be really hard. Like, again, like I think we didn't have a memorial for my dad until like 6 weeks later, and that was still like, you know, a little jarring. So now to see that on TV, like it's because now you're reminded of this person who less than 48 hours ago is gone. So I'm thinking more of the family. Like, I understand that people want to celebrate and talk and, you know, feel the emotions and all this other stuff, but it's I don't know, if I were in that position as far as creative and creating that show, I don't know what I would do, because I do come from that side. It's like, yeah, you want to celebrate him and you have all this footage and he's done so many things, but then there's also this other side that like it hasn't even been like 48 hours. So I don't know.
I think, and I agree with TK on that, I think they will prepare to do something larger on Monday. This is on the heels of Terry passing a couple of days ago as well. I think they want to honor both men and acknowledge it, but I think they'll do something bigger for Bray Wyatt in that regard, with more preparedness over the weekend.
Yeah.
Can I address something real quick?
Sure.
All right, so we're going to address that right now.
Accusations. These are not accusations. This is false accusation. And
We're not going to throw salt on my name like that. We're not doing that. But those are false accusations, and I'm here to deny every last one of them.
What are we talking about?
I put the comment on the screen.
What? Wait, where's the comment? I'm not seeing the comment. Is this one? Is it this one?
That comment. And like I said,
like a bunny chain.
accusations. These are not accusations. This is false accusation. And
False accusations. But just like Eddie Guerrero, I think this is the first time somebody of the active roster has passed away since Eddie. So I expect there to be the bell salute at the top of the show, and then also people tributing in their own individual ways throughout the show. And I think they'll do something larger when they have the full 3 hours and more preparedness from the production side on Monday night. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean, Santana did say, I think you mentioned it as well, they did it for Eddie. Like, I don't know.
We'll find out in 2 hours. And I realized my mic was mute for the last 2 minutes. But shouts out to the accusation. Shouts out to Rick Ross for that classic clip. And when she means bunnies, she made the blade in the bunny. Like, that's what she's talking about.
Yo, Dylan be working, man. Like,
wow, I don't even know.
I tap out. I tap out.
Yeah, I don't even know.
We're getting out the rails.
Yeah, with that being said, it's that time. It's that time. I think we went through all the emotions, including the bunny accusations. So Chuck, where can everybody find you?
At the Old Soul HFP on IG. Check out On the Floor Productions. Check out our Out in the Black Odyssey, our new single with Luna entitled Summertime Never Ends. And What's Your Name? And just remember this weekend that you got the whole world in your hands.
Greatly put. What's Stephanie? All right. Seti said, where can everybody find you this weekend?
I don't have no plugs this week. I just wanted to read this quote that was almost a year ago this month from Bray from his IG. He said, "Wrestling is not a love story. It's a fairy tale for masochists, a comedy for people who criticize punchlines, a fantasy most can't understand, a spectacle no one can deny. Lines are blurred, heroes are villains, budgets are cut, business is business. But it can also be a land where dead men walk, where honor makes you elite, where demons run for office, and rock bottom is a reason to rejoice. It's an escape, a reason to point the blame at anyone but yourself for 2 to 3 hours, an excuse to be a kid again, and nothing matters except the moment we are in. Wrestling is not a love story, it's much more. It's hope. And in a world surrounded in hate, greed, and violence, a world where closure may never come, we all know a place that has hot and cold hope on tap, for better or for worse." We salute you, sir. May your soul rest.
There it is. I remember when that came out. I think we even talked about that when we talked about it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back on Monday, but we also have our SmackDown after show. We have a post show for All In. We have a lot of things going on this weekend, so make sure to stay tuned to us and all the things. Other than that, my name is TK Trinidad, and you can find me everywhere at TK Trinidad, and we have a lot of shows. Dang, Seb, where did you move the commercial drop?
I didn't move it.
Did you erase it?
No, absolutely not.
Where are we at? Here we go. There's a lot of shows to check out. With that being said, definitely check us out on Monday. Ciao, y'all. Hey peeps, TK Trinidad here, boss lady of Women's Wrestling Talk. And I want to say thank you so much for watching, because you've got millions of options. Plus, you don't have to worry about sharing your password to check us out. But while you're here, hopefully you know we have so many more shows to watch, like Turnbuckle Glam, Raw post-show, WoW post-show, AEW Dynamite post-show, Women's Wrestling Army post-show, NXT post-show, Impact Wrestling post-show, AEW Rampage and SmackDown Live post-show, On the Scroll, ROH post-show, WWT Live, plus all of our interviews with the hottest women's wrestlers in the game. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our website at www.talkpod.com and follow us on all social media platforms at www.talkpod, and make sure to spread the word. That means send this to the group chat. Yes, even the person with the green bubble. Thanks again so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.